Hello, Dijon here. In the comics portion of episode 129 of the Mustardcast, we go over what books we've been reading and review issue number 2 of Wonder Woman Historia. Please enjoy. So, moving on to comics. We have Bree joining us for the entire comic session this time. So, we like to start with what books we've been reading lately, not just comics. Aiara, why don't you start and then Bree, you can go after them.
So for me, I've been doing my summer reading still. I am, I think, 1/4 of the way into Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. And while I wasn't really feeling Sam's character at first, I'm gunning for him now. He's great, and I love the dynamic he has with I forgot her name, the female lead. Her name escapes my brain, and I'm kind of sad about it because I like her too. I like them both. I like the dynamic they have. It's really nice. On top of that, I've been reading what else? I forgot what the other book was called, so never mind. I'm not even gonna mention it. Still on Helsing, still on Lady Snowblood. And those have been really, really good. I picked Claymore back up. I dropped it for a while because just didn't have the time to read it, but I picked that up and that's been great. I've also started this manga, and it's called like "There's No Freaking Way I'll Be Your Lover Unless," and it's like about these two like high school girls, and it's like one of them confesses to the other, but the other one like is purely interested in staying friends, and so they have this like system where it's like they'll try out half of the time they'll be a couple, half the time they'll be friends, and at the end by the end of like a certain time frame they'll see which one they want to be for the rest of their like high school time, and it's been really cute. It's been really cute. And I like it a lot, but those are my things.
That actually sounds really interesting.
It is, and there's a anime adaptation airing on YouTube right now, and it's the cutest thing ever.
Oh, I might have to give it a watch then.
Yeah.
You want to say something? Oh, okay. So I haven't really read any comics aside from the Wonder Woman one, but
Right.
so far I have read a one shot, like a manga, and then I'm currently reading something else. So the one shot manga was about this kid who was like basically turned into like a monster by this witch and is like ostracized by the town and like even his mother. Like he keeps going to town every day to see his mom, and his mom was like, "You're not my son. If you were my son, he wouldn't come to town looking like this. Like you're a disgrace." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is terrible." But the manga that I'm currently reading is about a salaryman who goes to work at like around 5 a.m. But before he goes to work, he gets food and he comes across a host who goes like is like coming off of work. So they always meet at like this bar, and I'm like only on like the first chapter, and so far it's really cute. I like it.
Ooh,
Like they don't even know each other's names. They're just like meeting and talking, and like it's like very casual. But like
sounds
there's like
adorable.
some love in there, or at least through my perspective, there is like a hint of like love in there.
Hmm.
Sounds cool.
So nothing serious, just some casual reading.
Yeah, I've been very trying to decide whether or not I wanted to keep reading the Witcher book that I'm on. I think I'm on Time of Contempt. Or hop back into Mistborn with the third book, final book of that, just final book of that part of the story, because the next two books are like in the future or something. So I don't need to read those immediately. And I decided, let me give Mistborn a break. The Witcher, I'm kind of iffy on right now, so I'm gonna finish that later and decide if I even want to continue reading The Witcher after that. And I decided let's just read something new. There are a couple of books that have just been like the previews have been sitting in my Kindle for a while, and I was like, let's check out these previews to see if I like them and want to buy them. And the book I checked out and ultimately liked and purchased and I'm reading is The Poppy War. By let me look up who the author is right now. By R.F. Kuang. It is this Chinese fantasy novel um,
Ooh.
about a world that has gone. They live in this like very China inspired country, um, and they recently went to war with this universe's version of Japan. Like as you read it, you can tell like they try to make it very clear, kind of like the historical context and like what the different countries are. Like even though they're going by different names, just by the historical context and the names themselves, you can tell like this country's Europe, or this country, I mean, is England, and this country's Japan, and the main country is China, and it's real good. It's real fun so far. It's not this. I'm still pretty early into it, but so far it's about the main character, um, who's a girl named Runan going to a military school. She grew up as an orphan from the last war and was raised essentially. Families are forced to adopt war orphans, and she was adopted by a family that does not like her and they abuse her. So to escape them, she had to qualify for one of the free military schools. But to do that, she had to like rank like real high. She took the test. She ranked number one in her province, and she's going to the best military school in the country for free. And that's where the story really starts. That's like the first chapter. All that happens. Um, but yeah, I'm enjoying that. Now on to the ungodly amount of comics I'm reading. So I read
Mhm.
The Ultimates number 13, Ultimate Wolverine number 7, Ultimate Spider-Man number 18, Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion number 2, and Imperial number 3. Those are all the Marvel comics I'm reading currently. For every one Marvel comic, there's at least 2 DC comics. But yeah, the Ultimate Universe, the new Ultimate Universe is really fun. The Ultimates is still, I think, my favorite of them all. Um, but Ultimate X-Men is awesome. I haven't read the latest, not even the latest issue because I'm like 3 issues behind. But the latest issue I'm on yet, but I'm enjoying that a lot. I implore you to look up the art of Peach Momoko, Brie. I ever seen it 1,000 times, but Peach Momoko's art is incredible. She's currently the current artist and writer on Ultimate X-Men. It's awesome. Imperial is this like spacefaring event that's happening in the main Marvel universe has been really fun, and I'm enjoying a lot. By who's writing it? Jonathan Hickman. Um, I read Battle Beast number 2. Battle Beast is a spin-off of Invincible, starring Battle Beast, who's a character from that comic that fan favorite that I've always liked. That they decided to give a little spin-off. The artist of Invincible especially really liked Battle Beast, and he was happy to start drawing a comic about him by same writer
Is
as
that the
the original as
white
well.
lion tiger
Yes,
thing?
it is.
Oh, okay, cool,
Yeah, he
cool.
has his own comic now. It's really good. Um,
Ooh.
in terms of DC, I read New Gods number 7, Batman Superman World's Finest number 40, Absolute Wonder Woman number 9. I'll force you guys to read that eventually. Justice League Unlimited number 8, Superman number 27. What was it, like legacy issue number 1000 something? Mr. Terrific Year 1 number 2, Absolute Martian Manhunter number 4, which Absolute Martian Manhunter is easily the second best Absolute comic after Wonder Woman. It is great. In this universe, Martian Manhunter is like not a Martian, but instead this other type of alien that is real weird. And he looks like, I don't even know, he looks like a children's cartoon character made of like Play Doh. And he's inside this detective's mind and like helping him solve cases, but the cases involve other like these other interdimensional like extra dimensional beings that are like messing with people's minds, and they're like trying to work together to stop them. It's really cool, very trippy. Green Arrow number 25, Flash number 2, Two-Face, I read issues number 5 and 6. I'm slowly but surely catching up on it. Fire and Ice, When Hell Freezes Over, number 1 and 2, also trying to catch up on that. Absolute Green Lantern number 4, Batgirl number 9, which Batgirl is probably my favorite main DC comic out right now. It is so good. Maybe I'll make you guys read that as well. And another comic that features Batgirl, Birds of Prey, number 19 through 22. I'm now caught up on Birds of Prey, which is great. And lastly, outside of DC and Marvel, another Image comic like Battle Beast, I'm reading Scarlet, which is a G.I. Joe comic book featuring one of the G.I. Joe characters, Scarlet. She's pretty cool. And the reason I picked it up is because it's being written by Kelly Thompson, who writes Absolute Wonder Woman. So I was like, I'm gonna like this. So yeah, that's everything I'm reading. Reading 1,000 comics all at once. But
That's a long list.
For sure.
yeah, it's a good time. It's a good time. It's just a lot. Just a lot. And I've been catching up. I'm caught up on most of the comics that I'm actively reading. It took me a while to get there, but I'm caught up and I'm keeping up whenever they release. In between, comics release every Wednesday, American comics. So I try and read all the comics that came out that week before the next Wednesday, and I got a couple of comics I need to finish before next Wednesday. But I'm also reading some manga actually. Still reading Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man's great. You got to catch up here. Kagurabachi's great. And that last chapter was the final chapter of Kaiju number 8. So that's done.
Oh,
Oh,
And I need to not fall behind on my manga because I feel like I forget about them sometimes. And I don't want to fall behind on Kagurabachi, and I'm 2 chapters behind now. We're going to talk about Wonder Woman Historia, The Amazons, issue number 2, which we've all read. Like last time, I read it last night because I wanted it to be fresh in my mind.
I did too.
Written by
same.
Kelly Sue DeConnick. Pencils and inks by Jean Ha. Colors by Wesley Wong. Letters by Clayton Cowles. Cover by Jean Ha. And edited by Chris Conroy and Andrea Shea. The synopsis for this issue is the second installment of the jaw-droppingly ambitious history of the Amazons finds their future queen, Hippolyta, cutting a swath through the world of men, desperate to be reunited with the astonishing woman who saved her life. But unfortunately for her, they're hard folk to find. Perhaps it is the will of the goddesses that they cross paths again, but before that moment, Hippolyta will gather to herself a tribe of her very own and find that the hearts of all women do not necessarily burn with a flame as righteous as her own. So once again, let's start with the art. This time is being drawn by Jean Ha, a different artist from last time, with colors brought to life by a different person as well, Wesley Wong. This is your guys' first experience of many to come, with artists changing sometimes from chapter to chapter in comics. Luckily, in this instance, it's just as good, in my opinion, in terms of art. And it was likely the plan from the beginning, but that is not always the case. In some books, the artist just gets busy with life or other books that they're also drawing. And sometimes someone else has to fill in for them for a couple of chapters. And sometimes that artist, not as good. So you're going to start experiencing that as we get through these comics. But because we're reading shorter comics, it's not going to happen that often unless we sit down and decide to read something longer one of these days. For the most part, we're probably going to be consistently reading comics that have one artist all the way through. Except for times like this where it's very purposeful. But yeah, what did you guys think of the changing art?
I will say I did notice a change, but I couldn't like put my finger on what. But I will say I was able to like read it more like consistently from like the first chapter. Like there wasn't too much going on where like my eyes were all over the place.
Not as many 2-page spreads
Yeah.
this time.
Yeah,
For sure.
like it's legit comic style.
Yeah, like I noticed, but I wasn't sure if like I was just like the first chapter wasn't fresh enough in my mind that I'm misremembering. But like I was like when it showed that that I don't know if you would call that a 2-page spread even, but when it was like talking about all the tribes of the Amazons and like them giving thanks to their patron goddesses, I was like, this looks different. They look different, and I don't know how to place it, but I don't know. But now I feel vindicated that it wasn't just me, and the artist did actually change.
Gaslighting herself.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're reading a comic and the art looks different, it probably is. Because that happens every now and again. It isn't always for the worse, but sometimes you're just like, what happened? But yeah, I don't know if I keep hitting my mic, sorry. I don't know if you guys read the very end of the book where the artist Jean Ha kind of goes into detail about how they adapted the script from Kelly Sue DeConnick, and how like DeConnick kind of describes their script as kind of, I forget the words exactly. Let me actually open that up and see if I can read them. Yeah, I already have it open actually. She uses a very like flowery like metaphor, but essentially she says like they're suggestions. And for this comic specifically, that's not always the case
Mm-hmm.
with comics, but with this comic specifically, she wanted the artist to kind of just interpret what she's saying a lot more instead of be so literal. And the way she wrote the script was in a way to where it can be interpreted in many different ways so that the artist can kind of just put their own fingerprint on it. um but they also talk about how they hide Artemis in the background everywhere, and once you see
Yes,
it
I
you
noticed
can't unsee it. And I went back and like
Yeah.
her face is found formed out of trees and clouds all over the place. It's crazy. I did not notice it
I
until it was
thought that was
pointed
so
out, and then
cool.
I went back and noticed it. And I was like, wow, how didn't I see that?
I was tripping out as I was reading it because I was like, is that supposed to be a person? Because there was like a deer standing in front of like stone, but the stone was
Yes,
carved to like look like a
the
body. And I was
stone
Yeah.
like,
was
am I?
carved to look like a body. Exactly. It was, and that's very purposeful. I'm glad you noticed it. I'm glad you
I
noticed it
noticed it
before reading the
immediately.
end, because I didn't notice it at all. Because
I was like, things keep changing. What is this?
the things that happen with me with comics is sometimes I forget to appreciate the art and I kind of just read it like a novel. That happens with me all the time, especially since I'm reading so many comics all the time. I just forget to look at the art and I'll just read it. I'll just read the words and then turn the page. And then I'll have to be like, wait, I didn't look at anything that happened on that page. Let me turn the page back and actually appreciate the art. So sometimes I miss that stuff.
It's so spooky, but so cool. Like they
Yeah.
did a great job.
But going into more, I guess, story analysis. This chapter focuses a lot more on the Amazons now that they've been created, and Hippolyta has been sent down a path of joining their ranks. And I love how they frame the Amazons' violence toward the beginning of the book, as Hippolyta looks for them. It's seen as senseless to most, but the truth is that it's being done in vengeance of women or to save them. And of course, the people of this time see nothing wrong with the mistreatment of women. So the Amazon's actions are seen as a disturbance of the peace and the natural order of things. And they get called man hating savages, which I think they say something along those lines at some point in the book. But, we of course know that's not the case. We even see Antiope stop, a young and new Amazon from killing a boy because she believes that he still has the potential for good, unlike grown men. The many grown men that they've murdered, because he's doing what he's told. He's not necessarily inherently cruel. These things are taught, and he has the potential
Mm-hmm.
to become a better person or not, and then we'll kill him if he does not become a better person.
Right.
But of course, young Tarpia is her name, doesn't see the wisdom in that. And after discovering that he poured hot oil on one of the enslaved woman's face, decides to go and finish him off. But
That shook me.
she makes the mistake of murdering him in broad daylight under a statue of Apollo as he prays to Apollo, the sun god, resulting in Apollo's rage and him snitching to
Mm-hmm.
Zeus, and Zeus then sending an army of his own warriors after the Amazons. And he says, exactly what I said. He considers what they're doing, which is just, what they're doing in the protection of women as a perversion of the natural order. He says those exact words. Um,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, what did you guys think of this chapter of the book?
That whole
It's
sequence. Oh, go ahead.
no. I was just gonna say it stressed me out so bad.
Same. I would say the same thing because I didn't expect her to go and finish him off. 'Cause I was like, yeah, he is just a kid, but like, there's a possibility where he grows up and just continues what he was like taught, or he can like change. But the way that he was like scrounging around for food and went to go pray and was like, yeah, I want like revenge for like the people that was like killed around me and everything. I was like, I don't think there's a chance for him to be good. And then she just showed up. I'm like, how did she find him? First off, how did she
Right.
find him? And then Apollo just like, oh, look what they did to my beautiful boy. And like he gets an army after complaining to Zeus, after everyone else complained to Zeus about men, but once someone dies that's like praying to him, it's like, oh, all hell breaks loose. It was like,
Yeah,
where was
once
that
once a
Wonder Woman?
single boy dies, he grants Apollo an even bigger army than the Amazons have. But when they plead
That's
to
what
him
I'm
about the
saying.
millions of women that have been mistreated and murdered across centuries of the existence of man and woman, he does not give a
He's just
fuck.
like, so is life.
He's
So is
like,
One.
life. Like,
that's
that's supposed to happen.
exactly
Mm,
the self proclaimed God of justice.
mm.
But it's
You know
only
what? That
justice
He
for
harkens
men.
back
take it,
to
The justice only exists for men.
right.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
basically.
No, you're good. It harkens back to that panel of Hera when she's having that conversation with Athena, where it's like, there will be no justice for women, not now, not
Yes.
100 years from
And
now,
then we
not
see the future.
1,000. That,
Yes.
listen, that
Because
was one of my favorite sequences in the
yes,
whole book.
that whole page was great, and we just see the future going all the way
Hmm.
to modern times of just this book. As you if you read at the end, you'll hear them talking. Came out in like 2019. So
Wow.
like yeah, they was talking about modern day, like not like early 2000s or 90s today. um
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so that page
And
was
also the
great.
use of the golden ratio in that was,
Yes,
it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yes, this yeah, and in the moment when Hippolyta is forming her seventh tribe of Amazons and trying to, bring in all of these lost women to the Amazons, we see that they're being taught more than just how to be warriors because the Amazons are so much more than that. And the narrator says that they say that they're artists, they're mathematicians. They have to learn how to live in the world through more than just fighting. They fight to protect themselves and others, but they don't fight because there's some of them want to, some of them do enjoy fighting, but they aren't killing people because they want to. They're killing people to
Right.
protect others. The fighting they may enjoy, but then murdering necessarily not. They don't want to go around killing people. They're doing it because they feel like it's necessary to protect others.
Mhm.
And then you also have that one great analogy where one of the Amazons is like, imagine yourself a bear, and you're a bear that's being forced out of your forest to a cliffside. Um, and in that moment, you wish you were a bird. You wish you could fly, and you have no other choice but to jump off that cliff and hope that you can fly. And that's what's happening to all these women. They're being pushed to the edge, and they are becoming Amazons because they have no other choice. Because otherwise, it's go back to the forest and be mistreated.
Mhm. And I also got, and this might just be me reaching, but like I got a very like, I don't know, there was a very like queer tinted lens to that to me. Like it, I don't know how to explain like my thinking here, but like something about it felt like where it's like choosing. It's like that idea of like, oh, you can't be this thing because X, Y, Z, but really it's a thing of like, if I don't, I had it in my notes, but I wrote it down kind of confusingly. It's like, um, yeah, like the idea of a mortal woman not being able to become an Amazon because of some arbitrary thing that makes her different really was like interesting to me. I don't know. I read it
That
under
is
a
very
very
interesting
trans lens.
because
Yeah.
it's a relatively more recent thing, but in I believe it is in Nubia and the Amazons. In that comic, they go over how like women are reborn. I don't think they get into that in this book, so I don't know if it's a spoiler. But how women are reborn as Amazons on the island, and it's through this well of souls. Women who die due to violence in man's world can be reborn through the well of souls on Themyscira.
Mm.
And in Nubia Woman of Tomorrow, for the first time, at least in like for it to happen in comics, in the universe is probably not the first time it's happened, but for the first time it's been highlighted in the comic, a trans woman was reborn on Themyscira. Um,
Oh.
and them kind of being like, yeah, if you identify as a woman, you can be reborn here. Whether or not it works for like femme presenting non-binary people, who knows? I assume so, but they haven't. Maybe one day they'll have that happen too. But essentially that it's an all-inclusive place for femme people in general, to kind of
Right.
be away from man's world as they call it.
which is really refreshing because a lot of these stories, when it comes to like, I don't know, not necessarily Wonder Woman in general, but like when it comes to that idea of like man's world versus woman's world, it's very reductionist on what a woman is, and they really like avoid falling into that pit trap um in this comic, and it's so refreshing to read. Like, I don't know. It's great. And also that bit where they were like talking about where each like tribe of Amazons finds their rest, when I forgot her name, but she asked where they go in the daylight, and like it's like how like kind of it felt like an allegory of like how every woman like has different social and like physical, and like just like we are not all like cookie cutter like men like to make us out to be. And it really like lends to the whole them like thematic thing going on with the Amazons, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that was very interesting to hear.
Hmm.
But yeah, it also I'm thinking about like after we read this, I'm thinking of like making you guys read just the first issue of um George Perez's Wonder Woman, which is considered
Mm.
the best, most iconic Wonder Woman run. But that first issue, and some moments that are resulted of that first issue that happens later on in the comic, is interesting and weird and strange. And I've talked to you about it before, where this is kind of retelling the exact same thing that's told in that first issue in a better way. But that one, as an old comic written by a man, as great as he does, pretty great job writing women in that comic, and most people, including women, tend to love that comic. You know,
Hmm.
it has its flaws.
Mm.
And some things happen in that first chapter in their version of the Amazon's origin that I think it'd be interesting to have you guys read that. Like myself, I read this first and then I read that, and to see the difference. And in my mind, as I'm reading that comic, that didn't happen. This happened. This comic is the origin,
Right.
which is very easy to do sometimes with comics, is to ignore one version, one version of the history for another. But I don't want to belabor this conversation. We can end that right here. I'm excited to read the last issue. Um, and kind of just be able to really talk about some very specific stuff. Um, that kind of involves having getting to the end of the story. This next issue is going to be exciting to read, especially the art. I know who the art is. It's Phil Jimenez. Phil Jimenez is the goat. It's going to be so good. But yeah, I'm excited for that.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're moving through this kind of quickly. Like we're already like
I know.
53% done with this. I'm like, already?
Oh yeah, one chapter left. We're done. We're on to the next one.
It's like it feels like it's been going super fast, but then also super slow at the same time. Like I've really been enjoying the pacing of it all.
Hmm.
Yeah. Which
Speaking of, one of the points that I wanted to touch on is when they are attacking like the traffickers basically. It seems like whenever they fight, it's like in rapid succession. Like everything's happening so quickly. Like
yeah,
how the women are drawn in
Mhm.
red and everyone else is just basically dropping dead.
yeah, very
That's how
efficient.
I'm envisioning it. I mean,
But yeah, this is a great discussion. I'm glad we're doing this now. I'm able to have these conversations with my friends about comics that we're all reading, instead of just listing off the laundry list of dozens of comics that I'm reading. um, but yeah, it's a good time. Glad to have you on, Bree.
thank you. I'm glad to be here. Like I really need like an excuse to actually sit and read something because anytime I do read something, I want to talk to someone about it, but like sometimes they're not as like into it as I am. So it was
Mhm.
great to have like this book club.
Yeah, it's gonna be a
Yeah.
good time.